Welcome to the Westbrook Podcast. I am your host, JD Jackson. As always, you can find me on Twitter, JD Jackson at the Westbrook Pod, and on YouTube at the Westbrook Podcast. I'm also on all the major podcast platforms: Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, Radio Public, Castbox, Audible, and much, much more. So please hit that subscribe button on YouTube and hit that subscribe button on your podcast platform. Again, I am the host, JD Jackson. Today, I'm here to tell you that Russell Westbrook has finally officially signed with the Denver Nuggets. For those who do not know, I don't know, maybe you've been on vacation, who knows what. Russell Westbrook traded by the Clippers to the Utah Jazz for Chris Dunn. Russell Westbrook was then waived by the Jazz. He is now beyond the 48-hour requirement on the waiver wire, and he has officially signed with the Denver Nuggets. Now, let me address the first thing that I know a lot of Russell Westbrook fans are worried about, and maybe Denver Nuggets fans are wondering too. From everything I've heard, from everything I've been told, Russell Westbrook will come off the bench as a sixth man. At least that's the initial plan. Doesn't mean there isn't a 10% chance in training camp it works out to where he's a starter, but from what I understand, they want to start Christian Braun and bring Russell Westbrook off the bench for many reasons. Christian Braun isn't that great of a shooter. We all know Russell Westbrook's his kryptonite is three-point shooting. 30% for his career, shot 35% his MVP season, and I don't think he's hit that mark again. So they don't want to start them together, and they want to start Christian Braun so that Russell Westbrook is with the bench unit, who's very young. They need a floor general, a leader. So for what I understand, that is the plan. Again, doesn't mean it may not change after training camp, but for right now, that's what I understand. Now, for those of you who are saying, well, Christian Braun isn't better than Russell Westbrook, I don't think that's what this is about. It's about what I just previously mentioned. I would love to see him start too. I'm the biggest Russell Westbrook fan there probably is, but I just want him to be able to play his game and play the minutes he deserves. If it's 25 minutes, I'm fine with that. At least he's playing his game and he's contributing to a winning team. That's what really matters. Above all else, I really want Russell Westbrook to have another chance at a championship. So I'm okay with it as long as he's getting to play his game and he's making his teammates better. His teammates are making him better. Now, let's get into that. I really think the players will complement each other well. I do think that Russell Westbrook will make things easier for Jokic, and I think Jokic will make Russell Westbrook better. I do think that Russell Westbrook will make Murray better in many ways, especially up here and in here. But that doesn't mean that I also don't think that Murray will definitely make things easier for Russell Westbrook. And then I think that Russell Westbrook is great with any big. He's amazing with any big it's been, whether it's Steven Adams, Daniel Gafford, Clint Capella, or even Zubac, who I guess really needed Jokic to push pace. And he was the only one who could really do it last year. With Russell Westbrook, you can push pace. And yes, he can break the defense down and get into the paint, but it's at the pace that he does it that makes it so important and makes it so hard to guard. One thing about Russell Westbrook is he's unpredictable, and that's what makes him hard to guard. You just never know what Russell Westbrook's going to do. Now, sometimes it may end up in a turnover, things like that, or an errant pass, or maybe he runs over and gets a charge. But for the large part, I think it's a positive, and I just think people like to concentrate on the negative. Now, he's always been a 30% shooter. There's nothing new here from the outside. Now, as long as Russell Westbrook can shoot 30% or more, I don't think it's a detriment to his team. If he's able to be great defensively, get into the paint, create transition points, and create open looks for his teammates. Now, I do think that Russell Westbrook's a rhythm player, and I think on the Denver Nuggets, he'll be able to have more rhythm from what I feel like they're going to look like. But I just wanted to point that out. Yes, Russell Westbrook is not a great three-point shooter, but he never has been. I'm going to trust Jokic, the MVP, and I'm going to trust Russell Westbrook, the MVP, and a triple-double king, that they can figure this thing out. Now, why do I think Russell Westbrook can really contribute to the Denver Nuggets, despite all the negative energy out there about Russell Westbrook in the current climate over the last, I would say, 2.5 to 3 seasons, is because as a starter for the Clippers, he played in 32 games. And in those 32 games, Russell Westbrook did average 15, 7, and 6 as a starter for the Clippers. Not to mention he did it on 47% shooting from the field, 35% from 3, and 65% from the free throw line. Now, I'll be the first to admit, I'm fine with the first two numbers, but he's got to shoot better than 65% from the free throw line. And I understand they changed the rules, but that's so long ago, he really needs to get that together. But nonetheless, those are pretty good splits outside of the free throw shooting, and those are really great averages. Not to mention he's been one of the best point of attack defenders on the Clippers. During the 2024 playoffs, Russell Westbrook held his opponents from the Mavericks to 31.3% shooting and only 9% from 3.
Not to mention, Russell Westbrook was only second in defensive rating in the 2024 season to Victor Zubac at 113.3.
So that's why I think that he can do so. But another reason is that Russell Westbrook is an elite creator, and in my opinion, he's one of the greatest creators of all time.
Attacks on Harden. Tough shot. Rebound Westbrook. Here come the Clippers with numbers. Westbrook in the corner for Powell. The three. Yes, sir!
In my personal opinion, he's the greatest interior passer I've ever seen. Now,
in the 2024 season, January 6th of 2024, about halfway through the season, Russell Westbrook ranked 9th in rim shot creation with about half as many minutes as most of the other guards. So, of course, that made me want to go look. Per 75 possessions, Russell Westbrook ranks 2nd in rim shot creation in the NBA. He's still an elite creator.
this will bode well for Nikola Jokic, Aaron Gordon, things like that. So maybe you can get a little bit more touches at the rim, even in the half-court set. Because even in semi-transition, Russell Westbrook is elite. And that's how I think he can contribute, not to mention at the point of attack on the defensive end. He's a great point of attack defender, and I don't just mean only at the point of attack. I just say that because I think that's what he's best at, but he's a really great post defender. He's able to hold his own in the post against 4s and 5s for the most part. Now, I can't guard him for 40 minutes, of course, can't guard him for 30 minutes, but a spot here and there, if you have to switch, he's able to switch pretty much 1 through 4 and sometimes 1 through 5 on occasion. And that's how I think he can bring a ton of value to the Denver Nuggets organization, who just lost KCP. He's not necessarily a KCP replacement, but he does bring you that point of attack defense. And not only is that, he's a little bit bigger and stronger, because I don't really think of KCP as someone who can regularly guard 4s and 5s, something Russell Westbrook can do. That's how I think he can contribute to the Denver Nuggets on the offensive end and the defensive end. And before all of the naysayers, I just want to say, let's give him a chance to play about 15 games before we judge them negatively. I'm excited. I hope you're excited. Thank you guys so much for listening to the podcast, whether on YouTube, whether it's on your podcast platform, or if you saw some of this video on Twitter. I want to say I really, really appreciate it. Please hit that subscribe button on YouTube. Please hit the subscribe button on your choice of podcast platform. Really, really appreciate it. Again, guys, please at me. Tell me what you think about the addition of Russell Westbrook. I always love to converse with other fans at the Westbrook Podcast, JD Jackson on Twitter, and we can converse a little bit. I always enjoy talking hoops. Thanks, guys, so much for tuning in. And as always, until next time, peace.